everyone, welcome back to Cottoverdi. My name's Annette. If you're new to my channel, I planted 368 dahlias this year, and each year I tend to do a tour of different varieties. This year I'm doing a tour of different colours, and today we are covering all the warm colours, so it's going to be the apricots and peaches and yellows, and I thought it'd be interesting to show you what they look like in the borders, and then I cut one of each and place them in a vase so that we can line them up and compare them, and that way we can see how each colour differs from the other one, and it helps me choose which ones I want to grow more of next year, and it helps me eliminate some that perhaps I don't enjoy or maybe aren't doing as well in the borders. So I'm going to go through all of that with you today. We'll take a tour of how they look in the garden, and then I'll show you them all lined up at the end. So this border here is my grass border, so I've got a lot of grasses sort of planted in the centre there, and what I chose to do this year is plant a lot of my warmer colour dahlias around here. So I'm going to start around this side, and then we'll walk around this side of the border, and then there are warmer colour dahlias dotted around in all the other beds all over the garden. So we'll take a look at all of those as well, and then, as I said, we'll compare them at the end. So over here we're kind of round the front side of the grass border, but as I said, most of the grasses are planted over here. This is a Cotinus, which is a gorgeous smoke bush, and in front of it, this lovely dahlia here. This one is called Phyllis Farmer, and initially I didn't like it because it wasn't performing particularly well, but actually I really like it now. This one over here is called Rosemary's Blush, and this one over here is marked as Fairway Spur. It was new to me this year, but actually it's not Fairway Spur at all. Fairway Spur is completely different. I'll put a picture up on the screen of what Fairway Spur looks like, and then we'll have a look at this dahlia. I have no idea what the actual name is. So over here we can see that I've got some lovely Achillea. I think the purpley colour picks out some of the colours in Phyllis Farmer really nicely. If we move along the border, I've also got Phyllis Farmer planted here and here. So these ones are a little bit newer, and the colour is a little bit darker. These ones, I guess they've just been in flower a bit longer, and the colour tends to fade. I do find that with all dahlias, they change through the season, but also as the flowers age, they tend to change colours. So let me take you a little bit closer so we can see how pretty Phyllis Farmer is and take a look at the flower size. So these flowers here are Phyllis Farmer, and this one here is Rosemary's Dawn. So it's slightly more orange, but this one has definitely got the warmer colours in it. So this is Phyllis Farmer. It's quite a flat dahlia. It's got a lovely sort of bright yellow centre to each of the petals, and then it's got this really nice ombre effect where it fades to a very, very soft peachy colour as the petals age. So if we move along to this dahlia here, that's supposed to be Fairway Spur. It's definitely not. I don't know what it is. It looks a little bit like La Corbière, but I think the flower size is too big for that. But I'm going to keep it because even though I don't know what it's called, I think it's a really lovely colour. Okay, so I think earlier I said that this was Rosemary's Blush, and that is because it was supposed to be Rosemary's Blush, but actually this is very much Rosemary's Dawn, and I've got a better plant with more flowers on it further along the bed over here. So we're going to go and look at the Rosemary's Dawn over here, just because it's got more flowers on it. So over in this spot, this is another Phyllis Farmer here. I've got Liquid Desire, this gorgeous open one that the bee is loving at the moment. That's that lovely purple one there. This is Rosemary's Dawn, not Rosemary's Blush, so that's a mistake for some reason. This is Mr. Franz, and then down at the very bottom here I've got one called Nicholas. I really love Rosemary's Dawn because it's got this gorgeous deep coloured purpley centre to it, which just helps it tie in with so many of the other flowers. This is an Nicotiana Crimson Bedder, this lovely little purple thing floating around here. So this is Rosemary Dawn. It looks a bit red on here, but actually it's more sort of a maroony coloured centre to it, and the edges to the petals. So let's move around here and take a look at these gorgeous dahlias. So this one is Mr. Franz. This is Rosemary's Dawn behind. Down here we have Nicholas. I'm not 100% sure I've been sent Nicholas. I'll put a picture up on the screen of what it should have been like. Then this big one here is called Paso Dancer. And just tucked behind, I'll show you from a different angle, is Erna Panza. It's a little bit short, so Mr. Franz, this gorgeous one here, is sort of outdoing Erna Panza. So Mr. Franz is this really nice water lily dahlia. In fact, this one down here is the one I'm going to pick because this is a new bloom. You can see that these are going over slightly. They probably got wrecked by all the rain that we've had recently. So this is Mr. Franz. It's a wonderful apricot-y colour with just a really pretty arrangement of petals. It's quite a flat dahlia because it's this lovely water lily type, water lily style. It has got quite a bright yellow centre to it, but I love that. And I just think that even as the flowers go over, that the shape of the flowers changes slightly, and it just still looks really pretty. Like even the new ones look, I think, quite unusual. And this one is about 1 metre tall, so I think it's a really good height for the border. So Nicholas was definitely one of the last dahlias to flower in my garden, although I do still have some that haven't flowered yet. So this is Nicholas. You can see that it's been pollinated, so it's definitely going over. Because it's so open, it's not going to be particularly long lasting in the garden. So next to Mr. Franz, this is Paso Dancer, and it's got really, really big flowers. Just a really nice size. This is one that's going over here. If I show you that, that's bigger than my hand, definitely, but I'm going to pick this one because it's fresher. So this is quite a short dahlia. I'd say this one has only reached, what is that? About 1.5 feet. Maximum 50-60 centimetres at the moment. I don't know whether it's supposed to grow taller than that. I'll put all the measurements up on the screen. Look how pretty that is. I think that is absolutely stunning. I've cut it with quite a short stem, so I can't really get my hand out of the way, but it's just got warm, peachy, pinky tones to it. It's got a lovely yellow centre here, but as you look round the back, it's definitely got more of the pink tones to it. But I think it's a stunner, an absolute stunner. So as I said, tucked behind Mr. Franz, we have Erna Panza. And then I've also got over here Kilburn Glow. So let's take a closer look at these. Now, Erna Panza is considerably shorter than Rosemary's Dawn and Mr. Franz. So this is Erna Panza here, not this one. This is my first flower from Belle of Balmoral. So I can't cut that one, unfortunately, because it hasn't come out yet. So it is going over just a little bit at the back. We can see the petals fading, but this is such a pretty colour. Again, it's a really soft apricot, but it's got a really nice raspberry centre to it, which I think is very attractive. Not particularly large flowers. So if we just turn around, this is Paso Dancer. This one here is Kilburn Glow, and it's incredibly bright, very beautiful, but I've only got one flower on it at the moment. So I'm going to pick that one flower just for you. And I've got it planted next to a lovely pink penstemon and some Rudbeckia and some Echinops, and I think the colours go really nicely. I think I was expecting this one to get a little bit taller than this, but again, they're a little bit short in this bed. It could be because we didn't mulch as much as we should have done. So this is Kilburn Glow. I cannot tell you how bright this one is. Kilburn Glow is the perfect name for it. It really is wonderfully bright and eye-catching. I wish I had more flowers on this plant. Maybe it will perform better next year. I think this is a water lily style because it's quite flat, and because of the arrangement of the petals. I'll put the details up on the screen again. So it's got a really lovely purple centre and then these magenta tips to the petals. As we move around here, this one is decorative. It's only just coming out, so it's not fully open. Again, this is the Echinops. And then over here I have brown sugar and wine-eyed Jill. So let's take, oh, and I've got some Rudbeckia Sahara down there. I've got some more Rudbeckia here. This is Rudbeckia Irish Eyes that I grew from seed. And in the background over here, we've got Cornell Bronze. So let's cut this single flower of Decara Jodi. Look how gloriously bright this one is. It's got the most intriguing, just pale, lilac-y coloured tips when it first opens. It's so pretty. This is a lovely decorative dahlia. It is quite bright, so bear in mind that there is a significant amount of bright yellow, but I just think that's a standout flower. I think it's gorgeous. Just in case you think everything's wonderful, it's not. Down here I planted Kelsiani Joy. I have got some more in my patio pots, which I'll show you, but that should have been a nice little orange dahlia down there, and it didn't come to anything. But this is brown sugar. So again, some of my dahlias have been really slow to flower this year, and I just think it's the weather we've had. So I've got loads and loads of buds on here. So I don't want to say that this is a good example of what it looks like. It's not, because I think in about a week or two, I shall have loads of flowers, and I'll definitely film that so that we can all see. So this is brown sugar. It's got a couple of little aberrations. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get it to focus on those, but I can't get it to focus on those. But there's like a little purple petal here. There, you can just see the purple popping up there. But I don't think that that's normal. I think maybe just a bug got in there or something. But this is brown sugar. Now it does look, on the face of it, very much like Cornell bronze. But as I said, we're going to compare them all side by side at the end, and then we'll be able to do a really good comparison and look at the different colours. So here we've got Wine-Eyed Jill, this more sort of yellowy coloured dahlia with a lovely deep purple centre to it. And then as we can see, we've got loads more of the deep orange dahlias along here. But let's focus on Wine-Eyed Jill, which always gets quite tall and may need staking. I haven't staked this particular plant here. So in fact, most of my Wine-Eyed Jills, except for the ones in the front garden, are actually doing quite well. And I've had to deadhead this a lot because it did flower nice and early for me this year. So Wine-Eyed Jill, I think at the beginning of the season, it starts off more sort of peachy toned like this one here. Let me cut this one. So I feel like at the beginning of the season, Wine-Eyed Jill has more of this sort of peachy tone. And then as the season progresses, we get more of this sort of bright yellow, but it always has this lovely wine centre to it. I think I prefer it at the beginning of the season. It's slightly luminous at the moment. I mean, that plant just looks very yellow, doesn't it? This gorgeous dahlia here is new to me this year, and it is definitely one of my favourites. It's the most perfect petal arrangement, and I love this ombre effect that's going on. This one is called Copper Boy. So again, I've got it planted with some Rudbeckia Irish eyes. I did have some Ami here, which is going over. That's all the seed heads we can see. And then at the back there, I've got La Corbière. And then over here, I've got High Fidelity and Cornell Bronze. So this is Copper Boy. It's got little petals, but it has the most incredible ombre effect going on. I really love it. It's more sort of a rusty colour than copper, I would say. That doesn't really remind me of, you know, a copper pot or anything like that. I'd say it's definitely more rusty, and I think the interesting thing is that the undersides of the petals are this sort of purpley maroon colour, which is what gives the edges to each petal this really neat appearance. So let's look at this lovely dahlia here that I really like, but it's been really floppy this year. I should have staked it earlier, and we've had to use this massive contraption to stake it, but actually it shouldn't need that much staking. I should have got there sooner and I didn't. So this dahlia is a gorgeous pale yellow pinky dahlia called La Corbière, and I think it's incredibly pretty. So I'm having to be really gentle with this dahlia because it's actually got a broken head up there from when we were trying to stake it. But you can see this really pretty pinky yellowy colour of La Corbière. I think it's ever so cute. The back petals have got more of a pink tinge to them, and if only we'd staked it sooner, you'd get a better example of what this looks like. But I'm going to hang on to this one for dear life because I think in some ways it's better than Wine-Eyed Jill. It's just a softer yellow colour, but if you're looking for something richer, then Wine-Eyed Jill might be your choice. So we're now going to move on to this one here. This is absolutely gorgeous. And again, this is another one that's new to me this year. This one is called High Fidelity. And look at the gorgeous red undersides to these petals. It's so attractive, and it just outlines each petal so beautifully. So this is a little bit of a small example. I'd say the flowers get a little bit bigger than this. Again, I'll have put the stats up on the screen so you can see what size the flower should get to. But look at this flower with the red undersides. I mean, that really is a lovely bright red. This is a stunner. And it's a really nice sort of pale, warmy golden colour. It's quite hard to get it to show that on the screen. More sort of this colour that's down here, that's the colour that it is in real life. Trying to sort of help with the sun that's shining on it. So it's not quite as deep orange as that, it's more of a sort of pale yellow with these really, really rich red undersides. I don't understand why High Fidelity is not more popular, and look at this gorgeous dark centre. This should be a go-to dahlia for everybody. Maybe just because it's quite short, and so maybe people don't like it for cutting, but I think in the garden it's a wow. It's a wow flower. So this is High Fidelity down here at the bottom. This is Cornell Bronze. I've got two plants here, and this is another Wine-Eyed Jill. So we can see how tall Wine-Eyed Jill actually gets. It's, you know, it's significantly taller. But Cornell Bronze, flowers and flowers, it's absolutely fantastic. I can see one that I need to deadhead there, but let me pick a Cornell Bronze because it really is the most perfect soft orange colour. It's deep but gentle at the same time. So this is Cornell Bronze. Such a lovely, soft yet rich colour. It's definitely got sort of the more reddy tones to it, and I can't wait to put it side by side with some of the other similar dahlias like this. Cornell Bronze really does produce a lot of flowers. I think it's fantastic. And it was also one of the first to flower for me. So we're now down at the end of the bottom bed. So here we've got some more Rosemary Dawn. This one actually is Rosemary Dawn, which the other ones were labelled as Rosemary Blush, but they weren't. But this dahlia here is called Late, or Late, and it's also popped in the bed over there. This is an astrantia called Venice, and I think it goes really nicely. I've also got this one up here, which is called Megandine, and then Great Silence in the distance. So this is new to me this year. I haven't grown it before, and it is a really, really soft apricot colour with hints of pink to it and this lovely green centre. So even when the flowers have been going a little while, it still keeps this green centre to it. So this is definitely one of the younger flowers. We can see compared to the ones behind, they're more of a peachy tone as they go over. But when it's quite young, it's definitely got quite a lot of pink in it, which I think is really nice. And then it fades to a very pale apricot. In fact, perhaps I should pick the apricot-y version of it. Okay, so I've picked one that's going over a bit more, and it's definitely got more of the apricot tones to it. Can we see? So this border here has loads of beautiful, beautiful flowers in it. I absolutely love this border. Ignore this yellow one here. This is supposed to be Lake Tahoe, and it is not Lake Tahoe. It's an aberration. In fact, I just need to dig that one out because it's ruining everything. But over here we've got Bellefleur, and then we've got a couple of Linda's babies dotted along. This is Penhill Watermelon up here. Let me show you them up close. So this is Bellefleur with these lovely petals that curve over. It's so cute. And then this is Linda's baby, the sort of pale peachy coloured one. There's another Bellefleur up here, and then this is Linda's baby again. And then I've got some purples dotted amongst them, which I think really set off the colours really nicely. So this is Bellefleur with these gorgeous petals that just curve downwards. I mean, it is slightly scraggly. It's not a neat pom-pom style. This one's got a bit of rain damage and stuff like that, but it's just got a really gentle apricot tone, and then these lovely purple centres. And this is quite a small flower size. I don't think, none of my Bellefleurs get particularly large. So this is Linda's baby here, slightly shorter than Bellefleur, and a really, really gentle, soft colour. And look how many flowers there are on this one plant. So Linda's baby, definitely, if you're looking for something that flowers and flowers, Linda's baby is one to go for. So this is Linda's baby, lovely chunky heads. What a pretty colour. I love this one. It's so soft and gentle. If you're looking for, you know, like a peachy wedding flower, then I would choose this one because it really is so feminine and oh, it's just gorgeous. As we move along here, we've got some more gorgeous dahlias. This really big one at the back here is called Hillcrest Kismet. Really enormous flowers, I absolutely love it. Then we've got peaches here, dotted around, and up here Penhill Watermelon is the really big flower heads at the top. So this is peaches. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know I don't like it. It's definitely got some very orange tones to it. I just don't like the pattern of the colours on the petals, and I know it's super popular, but also out of all the flowers in my garden from the rain we've had, peaches is the one that has done this the most, where the petals have just been ruined by the rain. So I don't think it's good for rainy countries. Let me show you those up close. So this is how all my peaches have turned in the rain. They've just all got really damaged. So every single one of them is just looking really ropey. So I'm going to go and pick Hillcrest Kismet, which is at the back here, if I can get in there. Look at this flower. This is Hillcrest Kismet. Last year I had this planted with Megandine, which is that lovely lilac-y flower, and it was so pretty. But I thought I'd put it in a warmer border this year, and it's just gorgeous. Huge, absolutely huge. I'll put the measurements up on the screen, but it's nice and tall with really big flowers. This lovely orange one down here, I don't know why I'm calling it lovely because I don't love it. Let's take a closer look. It's quite short, the flowers are quite small, and although they're a really fun shape, I really don't like the way they open up so quickly and then you're left with sort of this messy open look here. And again, this one did not fare particularly well in the rain. It does start off quite a nice dark colour, and this one's better actually. So if you saw this one, you'd think, oh, that's a really lovely dahlia, but then you end up with these ones. So this one down here is a really nice size, but the others are a little bit small and not wonderful. I'm going to cut this one, so again we can compare it and maybe it would suit a particular spot in your garden. It's just possibly not the dahlia for me. Again, I think this is another situation where I was swayed by the shape with these really pointy, fluffy petals. I think I thought that the flowers would be bigger and therefore more fun, but they're quite small flowers. And this is a colour that I've got quite a lot of in my garden. I just think I've got dahlias that I prefer more than this one. So over here we've got, this is Daisy Duke, there's one Myrtle's Folly, this is Alloway Cottage, the yellow one at the top. But what we're going to do is work our way around the other side because actually there are some more warm coloured dahlias around there. So we're down the other end of the bottom border now, and what we can see here is Palmares and Daisy Duke. And then further along there's some more Bellefleur. So here I've got Palmares, which is quite a short dahlia, but I really do like it because I like the structure of the petals and I like the coloration. It's a very nice, soft, gentle colour. Over here we've got Wishes and Dreams. The large flower in the middle is Sir Alf Ramsey, and then these taller ones are Sasha. Let me cut a Palmares so we can take a closer look. So this is Palmares. It's just got this really nice mauvey purpley tinge to all the petals, and if we turn it over we can see why, and that's because the underside has got this mauvey purpley tinge to it, and so it just picks it out in all the petals. I think it's ever so pretty, and it's a really nice soft apricot colour. I think it's really easy to blend in with other colours in the garden as well. Now the other dahlia that I'm going to cut quickly is this one called Alloway Cottage, and the reason I'm cutting it is because it's on the yellow spectrum, but I do think it's quite a cool yellow, and you'll see what I mean when we compare it with some of the other dahlias that I've got arranged on the table. I think you'll be able to see that it's a much cooler colour. I don't know whether that's because the lilac-y purple centres are helping it to appear a bit cooler, or whether that's just the type of yellow that it is. Let me pick one of these. So this is Alloway Cottage. Ignore that sort of brown mark down there. It's a really nice big dahlia. definitely on the cooler spectrum. It's really hard to place Daisy Duke because it definitely has rosy tints to it, but it's also got this warm sort of peachy apricot colour. So I feel like I need to include it in the warm dahlia selection that I'm showing you today. So it's really nice and tall. This one gets to about 1 metre tall. I haven't had to stake it very much, which is also a really big plus. So this is Daisy Duke. I think it's incredibly pretty, and it's been such a good performer in my garden. I really value it as a dahlia. You can see there's been a little bit of rain damage. This flower's possibly going over a little bit, and it's definitely on the pink side, so I apologise if it's confusing, but in the border it's definitely got some lovely warm hints to it. So I've got Penhill watermelon planted here with April heather and Hillcrest kismet. There's another Penhill watermelon over here. So I'm going to try and find a flower that hasn't gone over too much. I think at the moment a lot of them have gone over, but let me take a look and see what I can find, because they have got, I'm also going to pick April heather because both of these have got lovely warm tones to them. Okay, this is April heather. It really is very pretty, and it does flower quite well, even though it's very open-centered and gets pollinated. We can see the pollen on this one, but it's just got these lovely sort of pinky splashes along it, and I really love this sort of little collarette in the middle there. So April heather gets nice and tall, and you can see that it's just as tall, in fact, if not taller, than the Penhill watermelon. This is Penhill watermelon. So it's absolutely enormous and just has this really, I mean, it's quite pink, admittedly, but it's definitely got, you know, the yellowy tones to it. It's a nice warm pink, and I think I really couldn't not include it when I'm picking these warmer colours. Look at the fluff and the shape of those petals, it's gorgeous. So over here we've got some more April heather, another Penhill watermelon, and tucked right behind this one little flower we can see here is Happet Champagne. At the front here we've got Milena Fleur, in amongst all the Nicotiana, and then there's another Bellefleur over here. Happet Champagne's been flowering for ages, but I don't actually have any really pretty flowers at the moment. So I've picked one to show you what it looks like, but I will also put a picture up on the screen to show you how Happet Champagne has been looking. This is a very small flower for Happet Champagne. They've been a lot bigger than this. So at the moment, this is what I've got to show you, but I don't think it's a particularly good example of how fantastic Happet Champagne is. So I thought that there would be more Myrtle's Folly around this side, because this plant has been producing like crazy, and we have had to stake it. So Myrtle's Folly definitely needs staking. It needs to stake around the other side, and it needed staking here. But this is Myrtle's Folly, and I've picked this flower from the other side because in fact this is the better flower that I have at the moment. And I will put some pictures up on the screen of what Myrtle's Folly looked like when it was in full flush, but it's just a crazy, crazy dahlia. This I think is actually quite a small flower compared to what I had at the beginning of the season. They were bigger than this, but it's just one of these gorgeous, fluffy, fimbriated dahlias. I really love it, and it's a really nice, warm, apricot-y, yellowy, pinky, purpley colour. So if we move along here, let's go and take a look at Milena Fleur, because I think Milena Fleur is my favourite dahlia this year. And I don't know why, actually, it just really appeals to me. I think it's a really handy size. It's about 90 centimetres tall. So that's April heather above it there, and Penhill watermelon. And this is Bellefleur, which is also quite tall. But Milena Fleur has stayed a really nice size. But look at the colours on these flowers. They're so, so pretty. Let me pick one. I think that that is extraordinarily beautiful. Now this one is going over slightly. It's really, really pretty. It's got this lovely, soft, apricot-y pink outer, and then a gorgeous yellow centre to it, and each of the petals has got this sort of, I don't know, painterly stripy pattern on it. I'm just going to walk down here past another really tall Bellefleur. I must remember to plant Bellefleur further back in the borders next year. So there are two things I want to point out. So the first one is this dahlia here. This is labelled as late, which I showed you earlier, but actually it isn't late. But I quite like it. You can see that the pollinators like it too. I don't mind that it's quite open. Normally I hate that because they go over quite quickly, but this particular flower is not going over quickly, and it's a really, really nice warm apricot colour with flashes of white. So I think this is my second unnamed variety in this tour. It's just got such a fun petal pattern, like the shape, the form is so fun. I can see a snail in there. Let's get rid of the snail. It's a really soft, gentle colour. I really like it. So this is Late, which I've shown you already. And then this is Great Silence, which is a fantastic tall dahlia, and it flowers like crazy. It's really, really fab. And in fact, I've got another one just over here. This one's not as tall. It's a bit more shaded, and so it flowered later. So this is Great Silence. Now, Great Silence, the flowers do vary in size, and sometimes they're a bit larger than this. But this again has got this sort of warm pinky colour because it's got so much of the orange mixed in with that pink. I absolutely love Great Silence, and I think I've got at least 8 Great Silence plants, and I intend to have more because I think it's a really strong performer, and although it often needs staking, it's actually a really good performer, and it's just such a perfect colour. It goes with everything. Okay, so over here in the distance we've got Feline Yvonne. In fact, this is another Feline Yvonne here. It's all the way along here. This one here is called Jerry Winnie, and I'm going to cut that one, and this is Maya. Now, Maya is not looking so hot at the moment. I've had a few disasters. These plants over here have stopped flowering altogether, and I don't know whether they're diseased or what's going on with that. So it's not been 100% successful, but let's take a look at Jerry Winnie. Now, it's really important not to look at the size of the flower because this one is quite small. This is about maximum 2 inches. The Jerry Winnie should be a lot bigger than this, but as I said, I'm having problems in this particular border and I'm not sure what's happened, but I wanted to make sure to include Jerry Winnie because it's this lovely warm colour. It really is quite special, and even though this one is quite rain damaged, I just wanted to make sure that it was part of this discussion. I'm just going to pop over to this bed behind here because there are some more lovely dahlias over there. So at the back here we've got Great Silence. This is Night Silence. I've definitely got a problem with the foliage on Night Silence. I'm not sure what's going on. But this one here is called Happet Compo, and it's a little bit like Wine-Eyed Jill, but the other way around. So I'm going to pick it so that we can compare it with Wine-Eyed Jill. So Happet Compo is another lovely pom-pom dahlia. This one's a really nice size, not too small, and it's just got these lovely sort of winey tones to it, but it's also nice and bright. And I think it pops really well in the border, but also in flower arrangements, and it's nice and tall. So this is Great Silence here. Being propped up here with all these stakes is Baleska. Now, I love Baleska, but it's really flopped this year. I don't know what's going on with my dahlias this year. It's not been my best year of dahlias, and it could just be to do with the weather, but Baleska is a really nice colour. So it's very similar to Caitlin's Joy, but smaller flowers, more on the pom-pom size, like a larger pom-pom. So this is Baleska. Look at the colour of this dahlia. It is so fab. It's only bending over like this because it fell on the ground and we had to prop it up, so it wouldn't normally have a bent stem like that, but I just love the colours. It's just a really nice warm apricot-y purple. So there are 2 things I want to show you here. The first one is this one remaining flower I've got. All the rest I've been deadheading, so I don't have any flowers left, but this one that we're looking at the back of is called Natalie G. Natalie G again is a nice tall dahlia, and it's got a really good sized flower that's very much on the sort of orangey side of the spectrum. I mean, it really is sort of the colour of the inside of an apricot. That's really gorgeous. And then down here at the bottom, this is a dahlia called Danique. I always sold it as American Dawn. It's not. Apparently, I've contacted them and they say that this is a dahlia called Danique. And I think, having not liked it because I was disappointed because I thought it should be American Dawn. This one above it, by the way, is Baleska, but I'm talking about this big one down here. It's I think it would go really well over in the grass border where like Copper Boy and High Fidelity are. So this is Danique. It's got this sort of rusty tones with definitely, you know, deeper purple to the undersides. Let me turn it over so we can see. So there's a very purple underside to it, which again, I think it's a really nice feature on dahlias when that happens, because it kind of edges all of the petals and makes each petal stand out. I think it's really beautiful. And this is a really nice flower size, but the plant is quite short. So it hasn't grown more than maybe 2 foot. So it's good for the front of the border if you're looking for something, you know, really robust and rich for the front of your border. Danique is a good one. So over here I've got Rebecca Irish Eyes. This is Feelin' Yvonne, this dahlia here, and the one at the bottom is Happy Butterfly. Now unfortunately it's going over, but I love Happy Butterfly, and last year my plant was enormous and this year it's really short. So even though it's going over slightly, I really want to show you because I think the shape of Happy Butterfly is gorgeous, and I really like the maroony coloration on the yellow petals. Each one is different, and I just think it's it's definitely a happy dahlia, Happy Butterfly. If we come down this border here, I just wanted to go to this one, which is Caitlin's Joy, which I think is a very similar colour to Baleska, but has larger flowers. It's also nice and tall, nice and sturdy. I'm going to pick a Caitlin's Joy because I think it really is very similar to Baleska. So this is Caitlin's Joy. Again, it's this lovely maroony colour with warm apricot-y tones. This enormous dahlia here is called Breakout. Got strawberries and cream over here in the left, and also eye candy, but I'm going to pick Breakout because I think that this is another one of the warmer toned dinner plate sized dahlias. So this is Breakout with a lovely yellow centre. It's kind of a creamy centre actually, with the pink outside. Now we may put these with the warm dahlias in a minute when we line them all up and realise that it's not that warm, but certainly in the border it looks warmer, especially when we look at, for instance, the buds on the new flowers. It definitely has that warm, peachy, apricot-y glow to it. Then over here amongst the pots, this is Alpha Ramsey, this really tall big one at the back. This is Creme de Cassis. This is called Kelsey Annie Joy, and this one little dahlia down here is Palmaras, and this is called Purple Flame. So I've actually had not a very good year with my pot dahlias, and I may not grow them in pots again because I just don't feel like they've done particularly well. I think Kelsey Annie Joy in a pot is not that spectacular, and I was kind of hoping that it would blend really nicely with the purples, but it hasn't particularly. I think it's a little bit jarring. But when we look really closely to Kelsey Annie Joy, it's such a pretty flower. Unfortunately, it goes brown quite quickly. So if we looked at any of the others on the plant, I'll do a close-up in a minute, we'll see that they're all browning at various stages, and the flower is really tiny. That's about 1.5 inches. So let's take a closer look at these, and we'll see that they're all just going a little bit brown. So round on the patio side of the border, this is Teesbrook Audrey up here, which I absolutely love. This is Pearl of Hempstead. This is more Caitlin's Joy. Another big dinner plate dahlia here. This is Fairway Pilot, and Fairway Pilot is really gorgeous. Unfortunately, both those flowers are going over slightly, so they are going to look a little bit ropey, whichever one I pick. But trust me when I say that Fairway Pilot is very pretty and doesn't go over quickly. It's just that these have been in flower for a long time. So Fairway Pilot again is a lovely pink dahlia with yellow tones on the inners of the petals, but each petal has also got this sort of creamy stripe to it, which makes it a really nice warm pink. Now this is a huge dahlia and does need staking. It doesn't grow too tall. Unfortunately, this one is going over slightly, so we have to ignore the fact that it's not as full as it normally get off snail. It's not as full as it normally would be. Snails, bugs. This dahlia here is Pink Runner, and the reason I'm including this, even though it's called Pink Runner, is because it's a very warm pink colour. The flowers, well, when they first start opening, they've definitely got a peachy tinge to them, and then as they age, they go this very sort of pale peachy pink tone. I think you can see it's definitely got that sort of warm glow, especially, you know, here we can see the sort of more orangey colours to the pink. It's got a really nice dark centre again, and then this lovely ombre feel where it fades as the petals age. So I had a little break for lunch, and now the sun's gone in, and in fact it's been drizzling a little bit, so the weather has completely turned. But this is the really exciting part of the day where I line everything up and we can compare one flower and one colour to another colour, and I've done that here. So I'm going to take you through each one. I will try to put the names up on the screen. It just depends whether they start overlapping each other or not, but I'll try to do that. But I will definitely, I'll say the names so that we can just go through them and compare one to the other. And I think this is really fun, and it's what I love to do so that I can choose my dahlias for next year. Well, at least now that the sun's gone in, actually it's really easy to see the different colours of these dahlias without too much shade. It is starting to drizzle again, so I'm going to go through these quickly. I think I'll go from this side through to that side. So this one here is April Heather. This is Happy Butterfly. This is Happet Compo. I might just check the labels on them if I can't quite remember. This is Kilburn Glow. You can see how bright it is, and in fact it didn't really fit with the orange ones over there, so it is much more suited to the yellow dahlias over here. So this is Happet Compo, I said that already. This is La Corbière. This is Happet Champagne, but normally the flowers on this one are much larger and possibly not quite as lemony yellow. This one is Alloway Cottage. It's a tall dahlia, it's just in a short vase. I've run out of vases, I've got so many vases out here. So if we go through the Dinnerplate dahlias here, this one is Breakout with the very creamy centre. This one is Penhill Watermelon, which has got more of the apricot tones within the petals. And this one here is Fairway Pilot. If I lift that up slightly, again, it's just in a shorter vase. Then this one here, this other yellow one is Wine-Eyed Jill. So if we compare, for instance, Wine-Eyed Jill with Happet Compo and La Corbière, so these are very sort of similar shaped dahlias. Happet Compo is definitely a smaller, it's the pom-pom variety. These two, Wine-Eyed Jill and La Corbière, you can see how La Corbière is a much softer yellow than Wine-Eyed Jill. So these two here were the two that I was talking about earlier. So this is Baleska and this is Caitlin's Joy. So again, I'll take these out so we can have a little look at them. This is Baleska and this is Caitlin's Joy, which is very, very similar. And we also have Jarry Winnie, which normally is much larger, more the size of Caitlin's Joy, and has more sort of apricot-y tones to it. This is not a particularly good example, so we're not going to do a direct comparison there, I think. But these two in the border just look, they do actually look very similar. Now I know that Caitlin's Joy here looks a little bit paler than Baleska, but obviously dahlias change with age, so I just happen to have picked a darker Baleska and a lighter Caitlin's Joy. But the tones are really similar, it's just the sizes that are different. So that was Jarry Winnie. This is Bellefleur with the curved down petals. This is Late, L-A-T-E. This is Daisy Duke. I love Daisy Duke. This is Milena Fleur. This one is Great Silence. This is Pink Runner. So you can see how it definitely has the warmer tones to it. This is Linda's Baby, and this is Phyllis Farmer. This is Peaches. I will not be growing peaches again. That's just my personal preference, opinion. This I think is Erna Panzer, yes. This is Erna Panzer and this is Mr. Franz. So they are quite similar. Erna Panzer has got more of the rosy glow to the centre than Mr. Franz, and Mr. Franz is a bigger, taller dahlia in my border. This one is Passa Doble Dancer. This is Myrtle's Folly. This is Hillcrest Kismet. Oh, I love this dahlia. This is Danique. This is Palmares with the purple undersides to the petal. This one is Natalie G. I'd forgotten what that was. This is High Fidelity. So High Fidelity and Palmares are similar, but High Fidelity is much golder. Palmares is a really soft apricot colour, but they both have this dark purple to the undersides of the petals. This is Rosemary Dawn. Again, it's the apricot with the purple tones. This is Decara Jodie. This is Kelsiani Joy, very small, very pretty purple collarette, but I'm probably not going to grow it again. This is supposed to be Nicholas. It isn't Nicholas, it's something else, but I felt I had to include it. This is Orange Fubuki. And then we come on to these. So this is Danique, I've done that one already. And then these are the three darker balls. So let's bring these out. This one is Copper Boy. This is Cornell Bronze. And this one is Brown Sugar, which had the slight sort of little purple bits on it. I don't know whether that's normal. But in a border, it would be really easy to think that they were all exactly the same. But actually, Copper Boy is much darker when you put it side by side with these. Much more the same sort of colour hue as Danique. So I think I've already told you which are my favourites, but I think exceptional dahlias for me. Hillcrest Kismet, exceptional. I'm loving Mr. Franz, although it is new to me this year. I've grown Palmares for 2 years and I really love it. High Fidelity, I'm loving High Fidelity, and I'm loving Copper Boy. These are both new to me this year, but they're gorgeous. I'm not going to be growing Peaches again, and I'm definitely not going to be growing Kelsiani Joy again. And over on this side, April Heather I've grown for a few years and I really love it. And Happy Butterfly I think is also gorgeous and a very useful dahlia. And then I love Burlesque and Caitlin's Joy. These are gorgeous. But I think my all-time favourite new dahlia to me this year is Milena Fleur. And I think it's just because it is a combination of everything that I love in all of these colours here. If I had to pick a favourite dahlia this year, it would be Milena Fleur. I think it looks quite unusual and I think it's a beautiful colour. But there are very few dahlias here that I wouldn't grow again. Oh, and I forgot, these are the 2 unnamed dahlias that were sent to me as something else, and in actual fact I quite like them. So this was supposed to be late, and it's nothing like late. So this is what late is supposed to look like. And this is what they sent me, so that's not right. And then this one was supposed to be, I think, Fairway Spur, but definitely isn't. And actually, I think it's a really nice soft colour to go with the yellows. So I think I'm going to keep both of these tubers, even though I've got absolutely no idea what they're called. I think this is a really fun thing to do. I really hope you've had fun with me today as we went through all the warm dahlias that I have in my garden. Obviously there are gazillions of them out there. There are so many varieties that I don't have and probably never will have. And there are a lot of varieties that we just can't get here in the UK that you can get in the States and vice versa probably. But these are the ones that I have, and I hope I've given you a really good overview of which ones are doing well for me and which ones I probably won't grow again next year. Which is your favourite? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all next time.